The season is decided today, and Washington has a devious plan. While you're breathing, Adam Peters is shutting down Chicago to snatch an offensive titan that will blow up Jaden Daniels. But only if they act within 72 hours. 48 hours before kickoff, the Giants arrived crippled, and Quinn already unleashed 2 Hell veterans from the practice squad for an attack by land, air, and Shemazel. This isn't a game. Our defensive line has direct orders to leave Daniel Jones shivering in the pocket, using a move illegal in 17 states, but 100% league approved. Are you going to risk missing out when we reveal the name of the Phantom WR that will shake the NFC East? Subscribe before 0:45. Leave your Gold Commanders in the comments and get the victory code that only true fans will understand. The future is red and doesn't wait for anyone. Folks, this is huge. We just got news that might completely change the future of this franchise and take Jaden Daniels to the next level. A respected analyst from Bleacher Report just linked the Washington Commanders to a trade for Cole Kmet from the Chicago Bears, and I'm telling you, this is exactly what we need. Christopher Knox, who knows his stuff when it comes to NFL trades, listed Kmet as one of the most likely candidates to be traded before or during this season. And when he mentions potential destinations, guess who shows up? Exactly, the Washington Commanders. But let me explain why this isn't just wild speculation, but makes perfect sense for our organization. First, let's talk about Cole Kmet as a player. This man is 26 years old, at the prime age for a tight end, and he's already proven he can produce at the highest level. In 2023, he had spectacular numbers, 73 receptions for 719 yards and 6 touchdowns. Those are Pro Bowl numbers, folks. Last year, 2024, his numbers dipped a bit with 47 receptions for 474 yards and 4 touchdowns. But it wasn't due to lack of talent. Chicago had offensive issues overall, coordinator changes, and an attack that never found its rhythm. Kmet remained consistent and played all 17 games of the regular season. And you know what's amazing? Knox estimates the trade price to be around AFIFTA round pick. A 5th rounder for a 26-year-old tight end who's already proven he can be Tay 1 in the NFL. I'm telling you, that's an absolute steal. Now, why would this be perfect for Jaden Daniels? Let me tell you, Jaden already showed in his rookie season that he has the vision and arm to use tight ends effectively. With Zach Ertz, he had a solid connection, but Ertz is 34 years old. He's not getting any younger, and while still productive, we need to think about the future. Cole Kmet will be the perfect combination of present and future. He has the experience to contribute immediately, but also the youth to grow alongside Jaden over the next 5 to 7 years. Imagine that chemistry developing over years. Plus, Kmet is 6 feet 6 inches tall and weighs 260 pounds. He's a big, reliable target in the red zone, something we always need more of. His hands are solid, he runs smart routes, and he's fast enough to be a threat on seams and crossing routes. But you know what excites me the most? The versatility this would give Cliff Kingsbury. They could line up Ertz and Kmet together in 2 tight end formations, creating impossible matchups for defenses. Terry McLaurin outside, Jahan Dotson in the slot, Kmet down the seam, Ertz on crossing routes. That offense would be unstoppable. And here's the smart part. Chicago is in total rebuild mode. They're trying to accumulate draft picks, especially after changes they made in their coaching staff and front office. For them, trading Kmet for a 5th rounder might make sense if they feel he doesn't fit into their long-term plans. For us, a 5th round pick is practically nothing compared to what we could get. Adam Peters has shown he's smart with trades. And this would be the kind of move that defines winning organizations. Can you imagine the look on NFC East defenses' faces when they see the lineup? Dallas would have to decide whether to cover Terry with their best corner or worry about Kmet attacking the middle. Philadelphia would have nightmares trying to match the speed and size of all our receivers. And the Giants? Well, they already have enough problems, as you'll see shortly. Look, I've followed this team through decades of mediocrity, and we finally have an organization that thinks like winners. Peters isn't trying to develop long-term projects. He's adding proven talent that can help now while Jaden is on his rookie contract. This is exactly what teams like Tampa Bay did when adding Rob Gronkowski for Tom Brady, or what Denver did when building around Peyton Manning. When you have a special quarterback, you give them all the weapons possible, and you know what the immediate impact would be. Ertz could move more to the slot, where he's always been more effective. Kmet would be our traditional tight end attacking the seams and creating problems in the middle field. Brian Robinson Jr. would have more space to run because defenses couldn't stack 8 in the box. The timing is also perfect. We're in a competitive window now, not in 2 or 3 years when we've developed someone. Jaden showed. He's ready to compete at the highest level. Our defense is improving, and we've added talent in free agency. A move like this would send a clear message to the entire league. Washington is here to stay, and they're serious about a super Bowl run. Do you think Peters is seriously considering this trade? I'm telling you, after all the smart moves he's made, nothing would surprise me. And frankly, you should be on the phone with Chicago exploring the possibilities. This could be the piece that takes our offense from very good to elite. And at a 5th-round pick price, it'd be one of the best trades of the decade. My friends, after years of watching this team suffer against division rivals, the universe is finally giving us a real advantage. The New York Giants have a massive problem on their offensive line just as we face our first test of the season. And I'm telling you, this could be exactly what we needed to start off on the right foot. Andrew Thomas, the Giants' left tackle and one of their best offensive pieces, is not completely ready to face us this Sunday. And let me explain why this is huge for us. Thomas isn't just any player. This man was the 4th overall pick in the 2020 draft, has been their starting left tackle since his rookie year, and is literally the cornerstone of their offensive line. When he's healthy, Daniel Jones has time to throw. When he's not, well, Jones becomes target practice for our pass rush. Brian Daboll, the Giants' head coach, has been trying to downplay the drama, but I can read between the lines. When a coach says a player has been working hard to be ready, but can't confirm it for the game, that tells me there's real concern. And you know what this means for us? That all the work Adam Peters did strengthening our defensive line is finally going to pay off at the most important moment. If Thomas can't play or is limited, they'd face James Hudson as backup. Daboll tries to sell it by saying Hudson has a defensive mindset and an aggressive side. But I ask you, when have you ever seen a backup be better than the all-pro starter? Hudson has played 14 games in his career, started only a handful of them, and now you'd have to protect Daniel Jones against a defensive line that added talent specifically to create pressure. Do you think that's going well for them? But here's what's truly incredible. While the Giants are worried about their injuries, we have a LL, our 53 players completely healthy and ready to go. Does that sound like a coincidence to you? To me, it sounds like our organization is finally getting things right. Dan Quinn has talked all preseason about having real depth, about being prepared for any situation. While other teams are juggling injury reports, we're 100% focused on game planning and execution. And it's not just Andrew Thomas. Malik Neighbors, their rookie receiver who was supposed to be their new secret weapon, also appeared on the injury report Friday with back issues. Daboll says he'll be fine for the game, but have you ever seen back problems magically disappear? In 48 hours? Neighbors was limited in practice on Friday because he reported having a tight back. For a rookie receiver in his first NFL game, that's not exactly ideal preparation, especially when he's going to face a secondary that's been studying film and waiting for this moment. Here's what really excites me. After losing both games against us last season, the Giants needed to be at 100% to have any chance of competing in Northwest Stadium. And now they come with doubts about their left tackle and Their most promising receiver, Doc, do you remember how Daniel Jones looked when he had constant pressure? The man becomes a completely different quarterback. His mechanics break down, he starts seeing ghosts and makes questionable decisions. With Thomas out and Hudson trying to stop our pass rushers, Jones could have a very long afternoon, Dot. And here's the best part. Our defensive coaching staff has had all offseason to prepare specifically for these types of situations. Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. have been studying film, designing blitzes, and creating packages specifically to attack vulnerable offensive lines. If Hudson is protecting the left side alone, we can send pressure from multiple angles. Stunts, twists, delayed, blitzes, everything will be on the table. And with our more athletic linebackers, we can create pre-snap confusion that will be nightmare material for a backup tackle. But you know what's the most amazing? While they're worried about surviving, we can be aggressive. Jaden Daniels is going to have a clean pocket because they won't generate a consistent pass. Rush with a compromised offensive line. Terry McLaurin is going to have favorable matchups because their secondary will be worried about helping with pass protection. Ryan Robinson Jr. will find running lanes because they have to keep extra blockers. It's like a domino effect that benefits us in all aspects of the game. Dabo is trying to maintain a positive attitude, saying he doesn't want his players to see this as a measuring stick game. But I ask you, how wouldn't it be a measuring stick when they arrive injured at the house of the team that swept them last season? The reality is the Giants are in damage control mode before the game even begins. They're trying to convince everyone, including themselves, that they're going to be okay. But when you have to do that kind of public convincing, it tells me there's internal concern. And you know what else I like? Quinn has kept our team completely focused all week. While the Giants are dealing with medical drama and questions about availability, we've had clean practices, full participation, and zero distractions. This is the difference between an organization that's ascending and one that's trying to hold things together. We're thinking ahead, planning for situations like this. They're reacting to circumstances beyond their control. Sunday at 1 p.m. at Northwest Stadium, we'll see the outcome of months of preparation versus days of uncertainty. And I'm telling you, I like our position a lot more than theirs. If Thomas can't go, this turns into a statement game opportunity. Not just to beat a divisional rival, but to show that when we have advantages, we capitalize on them. Those are the types of games that separate good teams from great teams. Now comes something that fascinates me, and it's evidence that Dan Quinn and Adam Peters are thinking chess while other teams are playing checkers. The last-minute roster moves they made this Saturday tell me there's much more happening behind the scenes than any of us imagine. This Saturday, just before our opener against the Giants, Washington did something that very few people saw coming. They called up center Michael Diter and wide receiver Chris Moore from the practice squad. And I'm telling you, these aren't casual moves. This is strategic planning at the highest level. Why is this so significant? Because the Commanders can dress up to 48 players from their 53-man roster on Sunday, which means at least 5 players won't dress. But by calling up 2 players from the practice squad, they now have to make 7 players inactive from the active roster. That tells me Quinn is seeing something we're not, or he's preparing for scenarios other coaches don't even consider. Let's talk about Michael Diter first, because his background is impressive. This isn't just any practice squad player they're trying out. Diter entered the NFL as a 3rd-round pick of the Miami Dolphins in 2019. That's real draft capital. In his rookie season, 2019, Diter started 15 games for Miami. 15 games as a rookie. That doesn't happen unless you're legitimately good at your position. Though relegated to backup duties in 2020, he returned to start 8 more games in 2020-1 after 4 seasons with Miami. He joined the Houston Texans in 2023 and started 10 games there. Last season, as Tyler Biadash's primary backup, he was active for all 17 games and started 2 games when needed. Do you see the pattern here? Diter isn't a developmental player. He's a proven commodity who has started 33 games in his NFL career. When Quinn and Peters call up a guy with that kind of resume, there's a specific reason behind it. My theory is they're seeing something in the Giants' film that tells them we might need extra depth or specific skill set on the offensive line. Maybe they're planning to use more heavy packages, or maybe they've identified a weakness in the Giants' defense that they can exploit with certain personnel groupings. Now let's talk about Chris Moore, and this is where it gets really interesting. Moore has been in the NFL since 2016. That's 8 years of NFL experience. He's played for 5 different teams, including Washington, which he joined in 2024 but wasn't active for any games last season. In 2023, Moore caught 22 passes for the Tennessee Titans. Those were his first regular season receptions since previous seasons, which tells me he still has juice left in the tank. But here's what really catches my attention. Moore has been around the league long enough to know systems, understand situations, and contribute immediately on special teams. Quinn isn't calling up projects. He's calling up veterans who can impact winning. Right now, the reality is that even though we have all our receivers healthy, including Noah Brown, 5 receivers for an NFL game is cutting it close. Injuries happen, packages change, and special teams require specific skill sets. Moore gives us insurance and versatility that couldn't get from practice squad rookies. But do you know what this really tells me? That Quinn isn't taking wide chances with this opener. He wants every possible advantage, every potential matchup, and every special teams ace he can get. That's championship-level preparation. There's also the strategic element of the third quarterback rule that most fans don't understand. Josh Johnson will be among the inactive players, but thanks to recent rule changes, they can dress him as the third quarterback without counting against a 48-man limit. If any of the active quarterbacks get injured, they can rule him inactive and bring Johnson up to the active roster in-game as a replacement. But here's the catch. Johnson has to be part of the 53-man roster first. He can't be on the practice squad called up for the week. That shows long-term thinking from the front office. They're not just thinking about this game. They're thinking about the entire season. Special teams contributions are going to play a major role in deciding who does and doesn't suit up on Sunday. Moore's experience in coverage teams and return units probably sealed his call-up. Dieter's ability to play multiple positions on the offensive line gives the coaching staff flexibility they wouldn't have otherwise. Do you think this means they anticipate a physical game where depth will be tested? Or maybe they're seeing opportunities to use personnel packages the Giants aren't expecting? Whatever the reason, I respect the hell out of these moves. This is the difference between teams that react to situations and teams that prepare for situations. Quinn and Peters are being proactive instead of reactive. And here's what really excites me. If they're making moves like this for the regular season opener, what are they going to do when it really matters? When we're fighting for playoff positioning, when we're dealing with short weeks, when we're preparing for postseason football. This attention to detail, this willingness to use every resource available, this strategic thinking, those are the qualities that separate championship organizations from everyone else. The Giants are dealing with injuries and uncertainty. We're adding depth and preparing for multiple scenarios. Which team sounds more ready for opening day? Quinn has talked all preseason about having a next man up mentality, about being prepared for anything that might happen during games. These moves prove that he's not just talking. He's backing it up with action. Sunday at 1 p.m. at Northwest Stadium. We're going to see if all this preparation pays off. But just based on how they're approaching game preparation, I already like our chances against a team that seems to be scrambling to get healthy. Folks, after analyzing all this news, I'm telling you, I've never been more confident about where this organization is heading. We have a potential game-changing trade opportunity, a clear advantage against our first opponent, and evidence of championship-level preparation from the coaching staff. The Cole Kmet trade will be the kind of move that defines franchises. The Andrew Thomas injury gives us a massive opportunity to start the season with a statement win. And these roster moves prove that Quinn and Peters are thinking several steps ahead of the competition. Are you ready for what could be the most exciting season in Washington football history? Because based on everything we're seeing, this is just the beginning of something special. On Sunday, we'll show everyone that the Washington Commanders aren't just back. They're here to stay, and this is only week 1. What do you think about these 3 major storylines? Which news has you more excited for Sunday's game? Let me know in the comments because I want to hear from the best fan base in the NFL. Hail to the Redskins!